Hello, everyone. Welcome into CUTV Sports 1 and CUTV, another edition of Forechecking here. We're back for yet another season of hockey. Welcome to back in. The season feels like the season just ended with the Stanley Cup champions being the Tampa Bay Lightning, being the Dallas Stars. But here we are again in January. I've started a brand new season. A little bit different this season, though, trying to get back on track here with COVID-19 and everything that's happened. Trying to be back to normal, I guess you could say, to start the following season, next season, when, of course, the Seattle Kraken will become installed into the NHL as the 32nd team. But anyway, we're going to highlight this season for you. We just got the season started. So we're going to send it over to our gallery view where everyone is here in the show joining us today. Let's send it over. Everyone is here. Johnny Sakaguchi is here. Nolan Beislein. Peyton is here. Doug, our special guest and hockey expert as always, and Scotty P joining us once again. We're glad to have you back on the show, man. How's everybody doing?
Good, man. We're all doing good.
Feels good to be back doing hockey.
I know. It's like we started out with the football show a little bit, and then all of us got super busy, and then everybody just doing this. So we got back on track now. We're doing the hockey show. We had a lot involved in this show. We'll keep it a lot involved. Graphics and all. I know we didn't have a lot of graphics in that football show, but graphics will return for this show. Photoshop is now reworking on my MacBook because it was dead for a while. So that's why there was no graphics. But we got graphics now. We got video replays. We got everything in the show as usual. So let's start it off. The season's looking a little bit different here than what it normally would be. Because like I said, we're trying to get back on track to what would be considered normal in the NHL. So we're going to send it over to our hockey expert, Mr. Doug Gladkey. Doug, give us a little bit of outlook here on what, how the season's looking this season and how it's all laid out, how many games they're playing. Give us the whole rundown.
All right, so this is going to be a super exciting sprint to the finish here. We just started last week actually last Wednesday. We're already a week in, but we're doing 56 games. You play every single team within your division 8 times. So for the Penguins in their division, they're going to be playing Philadelphia, Washington, New Jersey, the Islanders, the Rangers, the Sabres, and the Boston Bruins 8 times apiece, which is going to be awesome and really interesting because it's going to set up for some rivalry type things. I'm excited to see what happens whenever we have to play the Caps twice in 3 nights or maybe on a back-to-back because, what if like somebody like Tom Wilson tries and lays someone out, like for instance, TJ Oshie absolutely just destroying Marcus Pettersson last night with what seemed like it was an illegal hit. I think that if the Penguins had to play them again on Friday, things would get super interesting. But yeah, it's going to be super quick, super condensed. You're going to see a lot of back-to-backs and a lot of games in quick succession. They're trying to get the regular season done by May, given that they don't have to reschedule a bunch of games due to COVID. I mean, we already know that the Dallas Stars are going to have a ton of games that need to be redone because I think like 18 or 19 guys on their roster had COVID at the end of training camp. So they're delayed. They're not even able to start their season until Friday, where they're currently slated to play Friday and open up their season against the Predators. So that's interesting, and it's going to be something to follow with teams as players go in and out of COVID protocol.
So, like, just to recap, is like obviously there's a lot of games played in the NHL every year. And like you're looking at NFL, that only plays 16 games. How many games is each team total playing this season? And it's a lot different.
56. It's going to be a 56 game season, similar to how in that one lockout year, I forget what year it was, where they only played I think it was 40 games or something of that nature. And yeah, so it's going to be super quick and super condensed. It's interesting because this can cause a lot of teams to play above their means or play below their means. Like in the lockout year, the Penguins had their lowest outcome in terms of what they should have been doing, and then they had that year they had the Florida Panthers make the playoffs, and they were one of the best teams in the league in that shortened season, and regressed right back to where they were the year after.
All right, and with that, now we kind of said everything with that. Let's take a look at The way everything's going to be laid out, this is where our graphics will be popped in, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who love our graphics. Looking at the new divisions, first off would be the Mass Mutual East. As Doug said, he kind of laid this one out already. The Washington Capitals, Philadelphia Flyers, New York Islanders, New Jersey Devils, Boston Bruins, New York Rangers, Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Buffalo Sabres. That will be the Mass Mutual East. Now, let's look at everybody here real quick before we move on and look at the Central. Early predictions for everybody. Looking at that East, who would be, if you had to make a pick right now, I'm going to throw this around to everybody. If you had to make a pick right now, who would be your number one seed coming out of the Mass Mutual East? If you had to pick a team right now, let's throw it to Scotty. Let's throw it to you first. I got to fix this here because they updated Zoom and it's really, really, really making it weird for me. All right, there we go. All right, Scotty, give me if you had to pick somebody right now, who would be your number one seed coming out of that Mass Mutual East?
Well, first, let me start by saying props to the NHL for trying to milk every last dollar they can out of advertising, since the fans aren't going to be in the stands, by throwing a sponsor on literally everything they can find, whether it be helmets or the ice or even the divisions themselves now. Kudos to them. But anyways, as far as the hockey itself is concerned, right now I like the Philadelphia Flyers. I mean, they are a legit team now. It's not like the Flyers we knew for the past 5 years who were either just mediocre or just barely getting in the playoffs or just missing it. No, this is a real good team now. They finally have some stable goaltending with Carter Hart, and even Brian Elliott's not a bad option at backup. You have some great forwards on there as well. Obviously, Claude Giroux's been the captain of that franchise, but now you have younger guys like a Travis Konechny, even Kevin Hayes has played well. The back end's been doing solid so far. Provorov's been doing well through the first few games. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how things play out. Obviously, we're still only 3 or 4 games into the season, depending on what team you're watching. But right now, my early favorite's the Flyers.
Okay, I like the Flyers as well. Of course, we know they played well last season. We'll see if they can continue it this season. I'm gonna throw it over to Nolan Beislein now, and Nolan, give me your prediction. You might be a little bit biased because you're a Cavs fan, but let's see what you're gonna pick here. You're a number one seed coming out of the Mass Mutual East right now.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, definitely Caps. I think have a good chance, but if I had to pick somebody else, I'm definitely probably going with the Flyers. I just think they've, other than that one game where they kind of got blown out by the Sabres, they've definitely been, steady the entire time, and I just think they're one of the favorites, and I think they're going to be tough to play each and every night, no matter what team it is.
All right, I like that as well. So 2 people for the Flyers. Let's jump it over to Johnny. And Johnny, give me your pick coming out of the East. You got to pick number one.
I have to agree with Scotty and Nolan on this one. Definitely the Philadelphia Flyers are going to be a threat in this division this year. And once again, and got a good goaltending. And from what I've seen so far, I've rolled out all 4 solid lines. However, I'm going to go with a dark horse in this one, and a team that is kind of a little underrated, but I think it can surprise everybody. And I'm going to go with the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, okay. The Buffalo Sabres. That's a bold pick there, Johnny. I like it though. I like it. Let's throw over to Doug here. I'm waiting on Peyton. His video keeps cutting in and out here. So Doug, let's throw over to you and your pick coming out of the East.
All right, I'm gonna play off of Scotty here and take the Flyers. I really like the way that their team's assembled. The big thing that we haven't touched on yet with Philly is Nolan Patrick being healthy makes them so much more of a force than they already were, because Nolan Patrick having all those injury and migraine issues, making it seem like he wasn't going to play again, caused them to go out and spend all that money to sign Kevin Hayes. So now they have 3 really, really good centers, and most of those guys are playing on lines with guys who are natural centers. Like Travis Konechny can go in and win a faceoff. We all know Giroux played center for 10 years before making the switch to wing. Guys like that. And I mean, when James Van Riemsdyk's on your third line, man, like, oh my Lord, like you're loaded. I think that the Flyers are actually the best equipped team that isn't the Tampa Bay Lightning to come out of the Eastern Conference and represent the East in the Stanley Cup final. So yeah, I really like the Flyers.
All right. So a lot of people taking the Flyers, and then course, Johnny taking the Buffalo Sabres. Peyton is currently talking to him on the side. He's restarting his router right now, not having a whole lot of good signal. So he told us keep going on with him without him for now, and he'll join back in a minute. If I had to pick somebody coming out of the East right now, there's a lot of good teams in the East. I'm not going to even say that there's not. I hate to go and say somebody really, really, really that's been bad for a while, but I'm going to take the Islanders. Go ahead and take the Islanders in the East. But let me just put this out there that the Devils have been doing a pretty darn good job so far this season. I know it's early. When I played a couple games, but they look pretty good. So just going to put that out there. All right, let's hop back to the gallery view here. Get everybody back on the screen. Like I said, still waiting for Peyton, but he told us to go ahead and move on. So we're going to go ahead and do that and look at the next division, which would be the Discover Central Division. Looking at this one, it's the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Nashville Predators, the Florida Panthers, Carolina Hurricanes, Detroit Red Wings, Columbus Blue Jackets, the Dallas Stars, and the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, getting back into this one again, I'm going to go through it again with all of you guys. If you had to pick a favorite coming out of that Central Division, number one right now, who would it be? Spin the random wheel here again and see who. I didn't use the random wheel the first time. So let's use the random wheel, see who gets to go first here. And, okay, well, landed on Peyton. He's not in the video right now. Random wheel says that Nolan Beisline will go first. So let's get you on.
Yeah, I mean, this Central.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
I couldn't find
the Central Division. I mean, it's definitely it's all good. The Central Division, it definitely has its mix of teams, and you definitely would think the Central is always just kind of Midwest, but now you got some new teams like Tampa and Florida as well as Columbus in there. So a good little mix. But Tampa's look strong, Florida's look strong, but I'm gonna go with the gritty little Carolina Hurricanes. Every year they just seem to always be a force come playoff time, and I think just they're going to continue. I mean, they've won 2 and lost 2, but still early in the season, so it'll be interesting to see. But I'm taking them as my early prediction.
Okay, I like it. Next up on the wheel is Scotty. So Scotty, go ahead, give us your take on who you're taking from the Central.
As far as the Central Division, I think this one will be not the best division, but probably one of the more contested ones, obviously, in terms of how far apart the teams finish. The easy one to go with right now is Tampa Bay. I'd say that, they pretty much have the same cast of characters coming back to their team, and they haven't seemed to have lost much of a step. They're currently leading the division right now. So there'd be my pick at the top. But there's still a couple sleepers there, obviously. Florida's getting off to a good start. Patrick Hornquist hasn't seemed to miss a beat since he's gotten in there, and Verhaeghe coming over from Tampa. He's had a good start to the year as well. Another thing that I don't think a lot of people aren't talking about yet, Bobby Ryan is leading the league in goals right now. So I thought that's kind of interesting to me, is that Bobby Ryan is obviously had all the issues off the ice last season. Now to see him come back with Detroit and, putting up numbers again, that's a great thing to see. As far as the other teams are concerned, I feel like with Columbus, there's a lot of, it's kind of sketchy there right now, I guess would be the best way to put it. With the whole Pierre-Luc Dubois situation, it seems like they don't know if he's coming back or not, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Chicago looks like a dumpster fire at this point. I think Stan Bowman did the right thing by trying to start the rebuild because they have absolutely nothing going for them right now. And I'd make a comment about the Stars, but unfortunately they're not even on the ice to play, so not much to say there.
And with that, let's throw it over next. And ironically, that goes to Johnny next. And since we just talked about the Stars, but yeah, give us your pick out of the Central, Johnny.
Yeah, well, normally I would pick the Dallas Stars to be the favorite in this one, and along with the Tampa Bay Lightning being the two suspects from those being the ones that were in the Stanley Cup Finals last year. However, I have to agree with Scotty. Those are the two easier ones to pick from. Florida, who just got reloaded as well. Oh, looks like there could be a good team in that division. Agreeing with you on the dumpster fire that are known as the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't think I have to agree with Scotty and Stan Bowman and starting the rebuild now. Was probably the best move for them. However, if I have to pick a team right now from what I've seen so far, or I think I might go with the Carolina Hurricanes again with what Nolan said, 2-2 so far in the season, but they're still grinding out there. They're looking for ways to win and trying to stay competitive in the games. Still have a lot of weapons down there, so I expect to see them make a very strong push come towards the end of the season. So we'll see what the Hurricanes can do.
All right, let's throw it over to Doug now. Your pick from the Central.
I'm gonna go with Tampa still. You know, they don't have Nikita Kucherov yet, but they did a lot of cap gymnastics to get their entire core back. They have a great supporting cast, and I don't really think anybody's gonna be able to stop them. You know, being able to keep Anthony Cirelli on for a couple more years is huge for them. And Stamkos, God, hope to God that he stays healthy, because the league's a better place whenever he's out there and balling. So I'm gonna go with Tampa.
All right, I like it. And I'm gonna throw it to Peyton. I think he's here. I'm gonna see if I can get him over there. Hang on. See, I think he's in here. Hang on. Working on it. All right,
Yeah,
Peyton,
I'm
there.
here.
There we go.
Finally.
All right, so I'm gonna let you go ahead. So give me, if you had to pick a team right now, I'm gonna let you do both since you missed out on the last one. If you had to pick, being early this early in the season, someone to be number one coming out of both the Mass Mutual East Division and the Central Division. So who you think would be your number one coming out of it this early in the season? Bold prediction.
So, I remember before I left, I heard Scotty and a lot of other people were saying the Flyers, and I'm actually going to agree with that. They have a really nice roster. I think honestly, if they keep playing as a team and they strengthen the depth just a little bit more, they're going to be golden. I really like them. They've absolutely destroyed Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's actually a really good team. Well, not really good, but like they got their own issues. We'll say that. But I'm just really liking the Flyers right now. I think that they just keep their head down, keep grinding out. They'll get that the Metro division title. As for the Atlantic, shoot. Man, I heard Doug at the end there saying about Tampa. I do like Tampa's chances. You know, like he was saying, they brought back a lot of their players from last year. They signed Anthony Cirelli to that bridge deal, which is really going to help them. That was a very key piece that they needed. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Tampa. I was gonna say Carolina, but they don't have the goaltending right now. They really don't. So I'll go with Tampa.
All right, I like it. Let's jump back to the gallery view for everybody here and go ahead and get back to the next one. Of course, well, I got to touch on mine, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'll take Tampa again. Just that's an easy pick. I'll just take Tampa for a Central. Next, you guys, there's two more. Obviously, you guys want to do the West or the Canadian division? Which one you guys would want to do?
Let's go with the West.
All right, West it is. So let's go ahead and jump out, exit full screen. Go ahead and hit the Honda West Division. The Vegas Golden Knights, the Minnesota Wild, the Arizona Coyotes, the Colorado Avalanche, St. Louis Blues, San Jose Sharks, LA Kings, and the Anaheim Ducks. Let's jump into this one, getting back to full screen with everybody here. Couple people freezing here, not sure what was going on, but I think we're okay. So let's get into it here. Johnny, you're first up for the West, bud. So let's jump over to you and give me your early prediction for number one out of the Honda West of it.
And definitely gonna be like the Central Division. It's gonna be an entertaining division to watch. From what I saw in a couple of games I've seen so far this season, and if I had to make a bold prediction of who's coming out of the West, probably the three easy targets that I could pick out of this one are going to be the Vegas Knights, your Colorado Avalanche, and the Arizona Coyotes. But if I had to pick who the number one slot is going to be in that one, I'm going to have to go with the Vegas Golden Knights after what I watched them do Monday night against the Coyotes and just absolutely throttling that in that one. It was quite an entertaining game up until the end, but Vegas they've got all the targets they need, the weapons they need for this game or for the upcoming season. Signing Petrangelo in the offseason and bringing back a lot of key guys, and right now having pretty much two starting goaltenders for a sprint like this going down the on a shortened season. You're probably going to need that with Rantanen and Marc-Andre Fleury being in goal. So it's going to be interesting to see how things go out in that division.
All right, I like it. Next up is Doug. So go ahead, Doug, your Honda West prediction.
There's a lot of really good teams in this division, but I'm probably going to go with, I really like St. Louis. They had a couple things happen this year, obviously they lost Petrangelo, but I think that Torrey Krug's a better fit for them. And being able to replace Alex Steen with Mike Hoffman is going to be huge for them. Get that good depth scoring element going. And then, you still have young guys like Sammy Blais and Robert Thomas who continue to blossom into really good everyday NHL players. And I just think it's the perfect storm. And Ryan O'Reilly being their captain now, I think is awesome. And it's something that's been years in the making. So I'm going to go with St. Louis. But another team I really like in that division, man, I absolutely love watching the Minnesota Wild play right now.
Everybody kind of froze up here in the meeting.
Think of, and he's putting that entire organization on his back right now, and I love it.
Everybody froze up there if everybody wasn't aware. I was trying to make everybody aware, but there was nobody on the screen except me and a bunch of gray screens. But all right. Next up, let's jump in. Scotty, you're next. Your Honda West prediction as soon as it decides to switch. There we go.
I'm going to go with the Colorado Avalanche on this one. I feel like the Avs really did improve an already great team during the offseason with the additions of Brandon Saad, and on the back end, they got Devon Taves as well. As far as the goaltending situation is concerned, I mean, I think it's still a toss-up between, Grubauer and Francouz, or however you say his name. But either way, that's a good problem to have, especially in a tight schedule like this. And not to mention, they still have Nate McKinnon, who is giving Connor McDavid a run for his money as far as the best player in the league is concerned. So I think the safe bet would be Colorado in this situation. Vegas is a good team, but I feel like, their arrogance sometimes gets in the way of them. It definitely did last year. And right now, Colorado is going to be my favorite team.
All right. Next up is Nolan, and then jumping to Peyton after him. So, Nolan, go ahead.
All around. Plus, basically the two starting goalies back there in the back, which, definitely going to help in the long run. But like Doug said, I may be hopping on that Minnesota Wild hype train a little bit. The way that they're playing right now. Kaprizov 4 points in 3 games, and we always go over this, me and Doug, and I never know how to say it, but it's always the rookie goaltender there, 3-1-1 already in the first year in the NHL. So great to see that, they're really just kind of flowing on all cylinders. So I'm taking Vegas, but if I had to pick somebody right behind them, it's Minnesota.
All right. And then Peyton, finish us out with the Honda West. Go ahead and start your video here, and I can add you in. Give me 1 second. And here we go. Peyton, you should be up, and there we go.
Alrighty, so this division it's very interesting. It's a very talented division. I think it's going to be a toss-up between St. Louis and Colorado, but I'm going to give it to St. Louis only because I'm petty. I think the decision for the Colorado Avalanche to go to blue pants and blue accent is probably the worst decision they have ever made, and they have lost every single credibility with me. So I'm going with St. Louis. I'm deciding to be petty here. It just looks awful. It really does look awful. But on a more hockey note, I do still want to pick St. Louis. Doug was mentioning it. They're really nice. I like them because they have that veteran experience. They know what it takes to get to the Stanley Cup and actually win it. So I really like that group. Yeah, they lost Petrangelo, but I still think they're gonna rally around O'Reilly. He's been with the organization for a very long time, and he's very well respected in that locker room. So I think that's gonna be no problem there. Colorado, I think, would get the second. Um, I mean, they're not in the cup, but like they're still a really good team, regardless of their horrible decisions with their uniforms. I do still like Minnesota. I think Minnesota has a real good shot this year. Kaprizov, like Doug was mentioning, is absolutely insane. Like I don't know if you guys watched the goals that he scored, but absolutely unreal. I'm really excited for him.
You sure
I just want to say,
Colorado will make the cup?
I don't know. I mean, they should. They really should because they have such a stacked roster, but it's just they just always come up short, and I don't know what it is, but they just always come up short. They added a lot of good pieces this offseason. Pretty sure they added Saw, they added I forgot who else they added, but on paper they should win the Stanley Cup. But as we know in hockey, you have to actually play the game. It doesn't matter what you look like on paper.
I mean, obviously, I'm going and taking Colorado, but I'm just biased. So I'm biased. So just the way it is. And then the last division, of course, is the Scotia North, and basically that's every Canadian team, ladies and gentlemen. Canadian teams aren't coming out of their bubble. Apparently, they're just playing up there in Canada. So to the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Montreal Canadiens, the Calgary Flames, Winnipeg Jets, Ottawa Senators, Edmonton Oilers, and the Vancouver Canucks. That is your Scotia North that we're looking at. So let's give the rundown. Let's go ahead and pick through them. Doug, you're first. So go ahead and pick your Scotia North number one team.
I mean, I think we all know where this is going, right?
Yeah.
The Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm taking to win this division. They look really good to start the year. Mitch Marner is being petty as hell, and I love it. What he did the other night to Mark Scheifele and Neil Pionk made my heart so happy after he scored that empty netter. The big thing for the Leafs is they actually have way more defensemen than they know what to do with now. And, for years we've been hearing the whole, oh, they don't have defensemen, they don't have this, they don't have that. Then they went out and signed TJ Brody. They got TJ Brody, they have Jake Muzzin, Travis Dermott's still really good. They signed that kid from the KHL, Mikko Lehtinen, who can apparently put up a ton of points from the blue line. And they have a really good supporting cast, They got a lot of really good depth players. I think Thornton playing with Matthews and Marner is fantastic. That's an absolute slam dunk thing. You want a playmaker there with your star players and somebody with veteran experience to help lead the way to that, help them show them the way. And my sleeper team in this division is the Ottawa Senators. They look really good to start the year. Obviously the wins haven't been coming, but like their games have been really good and really competitive so far. Their top six looks really good. I really like their second line on paper. They currently have the rookie sensation Tim Stützle playing with Derek Stepan on the end of getting Dadonov. And I think that's going to be really good for them. But as always with the Senators, the thing that's going to kill them is their defense. They have nobody there outside of Thomas Chabot, and they got to wait another year or two for some of these younger guys to develop and become impact players on the NHL roster.
All right, I like the looks of that. Peyton, you're next on the wheel, so hit your camera real quick, and I can get you on here as soon as you pop up. There we go. Your North team, Peyton. Whenever you're ready, go ahead.
This division, the Canadian division. That honestly, there's not really a bad team in the Canadian division. If I'm going to be completely honest, the Canucks are good, Maple Leafs are good, Ottawa Senators are finally getting good. Heck, the Canadians are actually getting better. Like Mark Bergevin is actually not being selfish, and he's doing things with that organization. But I think the Maple Leafs are winning the division. I mean, I think they're the best team to come out of the Canadian. They're going to be the best team to come out of the Canadian division. They're just so talented. They're almost like. No, I'm not going to say that. No, I was going to say like they're the Avs of the North, but I don't really know if that's a correct comparison. But it's just because the Maple Leafs, they have so much talent, and they just can't get over the hump, kind of like Colorado. So I think they won't easily win the division, but they're definitely gonna get that top seed. Sleeper team, I don't know. I like the Senators a lot. Like Doug was saying, they don't have defense. That's the only problem. I'm actually liking the Canadians. Like I said, I'm really liking what they're doing over there. Jesper Kotkaniemi, he's been an absolute beast. If they can get some goaltending, they would be pretty good, honestly. I think they're still kind of riding high after beating the Penguins. They're just bouncing them in the opening round. So if they can continue to know what that feeling of winning is, you never know. You never know what can happen in hockey. So that's all I'm going to say there.
All right, next up is Johnny. So, Johnny, give us your North team.
Again, as Peyton said, there's not a bad team in this division, and everyone's starting to look like they're starting to figure things out. Oh, but if I'm going to be honest about who I'm picking in this division, I'm probably going to go with the Calgary Flames in this one. And I think this could be the year they finally figure things out over there in Alberta. But it all depends on how Johnny Hockey and the rest of the Flames play. And I think it's just going to be that the whole division is just going to be really interesting to see how all things shake out. The other one I could expect it would probably be the Toronto Maple Leafs, as Doug said earlier that Austin Matthews the other night just making games look really fun over there. So, but I'm going to go with the Calgary Flames on this one.
All right. Next is Scotty. Let's get you on screen here and your North team.
I think it's going to come up to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Right now, they just seem to be clicking on all cylinders. They've had a great start to the year. As Doug mentioned earlier, Matthews and Marner are playing with the confidence that, hey, we are the best team in this division, and we're going to show you how good we are. And that's what they've done through the early stages. Calgary could be another team. I think Montreal could sneak in. A lot has to go right for that to happen, but I have faith in it could happen. As far as the other teams are concerned, I feel like Ottawa has a better chance of sneak into that 4 spot as opposed to like a Winnipeg maybe. I feel like Winnipeg's got a lot of issues going on off the ice they need to figure out. It always seems to be the case with them. So they have some checks that they need to figure out as well. The Edmonton Oilers just have to play better as a team. You cannot rely on Connor McDavid to take you to the playoffs. It's not going to happen. I mean, it might happen, but he's not going to take you deep in the playoffs. Let me put it that way. And for Vancouver, we have a lot of question marks going on right there after the playoff run they had last year. To see them start the way they have this year, that's got to be pretty concerning.
All right, and last but not least, Nolan Beisline, go ahead with your North team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to kind of ruin the fun with everybody's Toronto. I'm going with Montreal. I mean, I just think they're just a squad that, definitely had some things change over the offseason, losing Max Domi, but, able to get some return, Josh Anderson, and, Carey Price once again, the Carey Price that we all know that can happen, come out there and just kind of stop everything. And so far we're seeing it here early in the season. So I think they're a favorite. And, Ottawa, I think it's a good team, but those lower teams down there like Vancouver, Edmonton, I just don't know, what's going on down there. Vancouver, like Scotty said, getting some players, getting Braden Holtby over the offseason. And, he has one win, but Thatcher Demko, everybody thought, be the new star, has lost 2 already on the early season. So, is it going to be one of those things where they rely more on Holtby instead now? So interesting to see, but I'm definitely going with Montreal here early in the season.
All right, I like that indeed. Jumping back over now and getting the gallery view to let everybody on the screen here now, and of course we've outlined every single division now. So kind of talk about whatever we would like to talk about here for the first show of the season. Obviously, not a lot of stats here left, but we got to talk about the hometown team a little bit for everybody who's watching this show, probably around the California, PA area. Of course, they're probably Penguins fans, unless you're like me or Johnny and Nolan, and we're all rooting for teams that we don't like from Pittsburgh. So I mean, let's go ahead and talk about some other ones here. Doug, I think you wanted to touch on something here, so you can go ahead first, and then we can kind of roll in with some other stuff. So I'll just leave it up on gallery view here, and we can all just talk. So go ahead, Doug.
All right. So
I gotta run. I got class at 1, so I gotta go.
Okay. All right, got you, Scotty. We'll have a good one, Scotty, and we will see you on next show, buddy. All right, Dougie, go ahead.
All right. That was kind of unfortunate because I kind of want Scotty in here for this, but new season. We're like literally Saturday night. It's like we're 3 or 4 days into the season. Jim Rutherford is already leaking trade rumors. They've been looking at Jack Roslovic for a long time. He's an unsigned RFA who wants out of Winnipeg, and he's 23 years old. He's super young. He can play center and wing, and the Jets really don't have leverage. So I'm thinking that the Penguins can just swoop right in there, steal him for like maybe a 3rd-round pick and a prospect, maybe put a roster player in, maybe somebody like Colton Sevier to make the cap work, and you sign him to like a 2 or 3 year deal right then and there. And you put him with Jason Zucker and Evgeny Malkin, and see what he can do. The Penguins are in an interesting spot. Their forward group is pretty loaded, but they're missing one winger. They're missing that one winger that can play either in the top 6 or the bottom 6. I can tell you right now, I do not want Evan Rodriguez to be an everyday player on this roster. I don't think he should be playing with Sidney Crosby. And the fact that he was on that top line outside instead of Kasperi Kapanen last night makes me, like, honestly, it makes me physically ill knowing that he played over Kasperi Kapanen last night whenever Kapanen was carrying that 4th line offensively. And I think the Penguins also want to get another winger to force Brandon Tanev back down into that 4th line role whenever Zach Aston Reese comes back. You guys know, you heard me talk about it all year last year about how that Aston Reese Blueger Tanev line is one of the best defensive lines in hockey, and they can just suffocate the ever-living hell out of the opposition. All right, that's it.
I mean, I do like the Penguins this year. I mean, the Penguins do look decent. I don't know. Just the struggles every year for the Pens. I'm not sure what they got to get together to get it fully on track. I mean, they look like a good team on paper every time.
Yeah, I mean, their issues lie within the defense. I think that it's no surprise, and it isn't ironic that Sunday they played Juuso Riikola and Chad Ruhwedel over Mike Matheson, Cody Ceci, and got a better output because those two probably should have been your 3rd pairing for the past 3 years. But I get it. You want to use them as a luxury as your 7th and 8th defenseman. But if you're going to do that and use them as a luxury, at least get better players to play over those two guys. Like, I mean, when they went into the bubble last year, Jack Johnson and Justin Schultz shouldn't have played, but they did anyway, and just like now, Mike Matheson shouldn't be playing. I mean, obviously he's not going to be playing for what seems like a very long time because he got the Pittsburgh Penguins rite of baptism and is out for several weeks with an upper body injury. And, the big thing with Ceci is like, out of some of the guys they've had in the past couple of years, he's not terrible, but still at the root of it, he's still very, very bad and probably shouldn't be a regular everyday player. But, it's encouraging to see that they've been playing Chad Ruel over him. I like knowing that it's not going to be one of those things with the coaching staff where they play a certain player over a guy because of the type of person that player is, similar to what we saw with Jack Johnson, where they propped him up on a pedestal. But, I think they're close. The other person to keep an eye on that defense would be P.O. Joseph, who I think we're going to see get some playing time here with Marcus Pettersson potentially being out, as well as Juuso Riikola. They had two very big injuries on the defense core last night, and that caused Letang, Dumoulin, and Marino to each play over 25 minutes, which was pretty amazing. But I don't know.
I got two hot takes for the Penguins.
Throw it.
As a Caps fan, two hot takes. A, I think the Smith becomes the starter for the Penguins, which your problem is you have as many of us say, a dumpster fire with Jari at the moment.
Yeah.
Which eventually, if that doesn't perform, he gets pushed out like Matt Murray does. Or the second hot take, they continue to have this mid-okay success, and then come playoffs, they're out again, where they should be in, clearly with the roster they have. I think you soon start to look towards Sullivan out. Hot take.
Mm-hmm.
Saying with Bellucci coming up from Wilkes-Barre, I think that's a future NHL coach right there, and I think it's just waiting to happen.
Yeah, that's my hot take as well. That Peyton, go ahead.
Sorry. It never fails. The guys all here, we have a thing, we have a little joke that every jersey that I get, a player gets traded. So, for example, I own a Dominic Cahoon jersey. Look where he's at, not on Pittsburgh. I I actually have a Tristan Jarry jersey, and it's his All-Star jersey. And I'm really afraid that since I have it, he's just doing terrible now. Now, do I think he could bounce back? Yes. I have not given up. Unlike some people, we know who that is. But like I said, I haven't given up on him. But if he doesn't start performing soon, I think the Smith needs to be taking the reins. I'm kind of worried about him, though, just because he's only been a backup. I'm just curious to see how he handles more minutes. So I think if we get the goaltending taken care of, then I feel like the rest can kind of solve itself in a way, because you got to have good goaltending to play. Like, simple as that. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Penguins.
Yeah, to follow up on what Nolan said, my hottest take right now is that we go into, if they even make the playoffs, I'll put it this way, we're going to roll into the end of the season with Mike Bellucci behind the bench as the head coach and Darcy Kemper in net for the Penguins. That's my hot take.
Oh, okay, Doug. Okay.
All right.
Darcy Kemper, okay.
Yeah. All right. So hear me out.
I think that's where the episode just ends right there.
Johnny's
cut the cameras. Cut the cameras.
Listen,
telling
Doug and I've had this conversation already.
They're gonna have to trade for a goalie. Tristan Jarry is going to be that bad that they have to trade for a goalie, and they might have to trade Tristan Jarry in order for it to happen. And I want the absolute chaos of trading for a goalie that isn't Marc-Andre Fleury, because I want two things in life. I want the Penguins to win Stanley Cups, and I want a certain portion of the fan base to burn itself alive.
Because of Fleury?
Man, you chose violence today.
I woke up this morning and I chose violence. Yes.
We're feeling dangerous. Woke up feeling dangerous.
What's up?
The city's going to literally burn.
Like Baker Mayfield.
I did. I woke up like Baker Mayfield, and I'm feeling dangerous today. So
Jesus. I can make a bold prediction that Ottawa makes the playoffs.
Ooh, that's interesting.
I think that's clear.
I could
That
see
division,
that.
I could see
I
that.
could see it.
Maybe the
I could-
fourth. I'd say
yeah.
the fourth. I'm not saying higher than the fourth though for Ottawa.
No, I'm just
You
saying
know,
they make it. I'm not saying
Oh,
they
that's
get
the case.
Yeah.
Because you're one, two.
Colorado gets to the West Final. I don't know if they get any further than that, but they get to the West Final.
Yeah, the issue with Colorado for me is
That's a bold prediction right there. That's bold.
Yeah.
That's a
They
bold
just don't.
prediction right there.
They have the top end talent to do it. It's just the depth pieces just aren't there. You know, you have too many random guys making way too much money, and it holds them back. Similar to like what the Penguins are in. Like, you know, like they have Matt Calvert making almost $3 million. Eric Johnson's making $6 million, and it's like why? Like, I don't know, man. It's craziness.
I mean, you go look at it and you're like, okay, for example, like Matt Calvert and Eric Johnson, you're like, okay, they're getting paid all this money and they're not even performing that well. And as soon as you say that, all of a sudden they're scoring. And it's like, okay, well, what the heck? You know? I don't know.
Same thing goes for Jonas Donskoy. He makes like $4 million, and it's like he's playing like what, third or fourth line?
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of him.
Yeah, his style is weird though.
Without him on the line.
Yeah.
So how
I don't
about
know, Johnny. You got anything?
Dallas?
I
Yeah,
was gonna say bold prediction. And Roslovic's a Penguin, and by this time next week.
But yeah, I've been
Next
saying
week.
that Jack Roslovic's a Penguin by Saturday night, so I'm going with that.
But if I'm looking
like
like a long-term bold prediction, just because of how old things got shook up this season for the East and Western Conference division, or for the divisions,
Mm-hmm.
I think your Western Conference Championship this year. Yeah, we're talking Toronto Maple Leafs and the get ready for this one. Your Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm gonna get. DK, I know what you're doing, and it's not working. But that's not who I'm picking. You're gonna have Toronto versus. Ready for this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Honest to God, Johnny, that would be one of the best playoff matchups we've seen in years.
Yeah,
That would be
I
beautiful.
mean,
Bold prediction is the Coyotes versus the Leafs for the Western Conference title.
That'd be insane.
So have they mentioned how playoffs are going to work yet, or not at all?
The top
No.
four each division are going to make it, and it's going to be still a best of 7 in for each round.
But are we? So let's say you're one going to play the 4 in each division.
After that,
what's going on? Are you
I
playing?
I don't think they're gonna have to do it conference setup. I think they're gonna have to just March Madness it and just run it, because you have so many teams that are just like, you know, misplaced because of the way everything's laid out, because of how they had to do it this year. And it's like, you don't know which team belongs where. I didn't even realize that like that Canadian division basically constitutes as a Western Conference, because like that's crazy. But
yeah, and then towards the end of the season, come playoff time, because if let's say COVID still exists, do we create another bubble? Even though they don't want a bubble, what happens to those Canadian teams? How do they come down unless they have to play all their games in the States?
Yeah, I think we might see them do a bubble in like a U.S. market that doesn't have an NHL team, and use that as an ability to like gauge interest for a potential expansion.
Atlanta, let's go, Atlanta. Yes, yes, Atlanta.
My hot take is they do it in North Dakota and they play it at where
God,
do play.
Dakota.
I
mean,
I did look it up.
What's up?
I did look up the playoff bracket, and it said that it will have its traditional 16 team best of 7 playoff format.
Okay.
So it's going to go, each team plays in their division, and so the number 1 seed of that division will play number 4, number 2 will play number 3, and then the 4 remaining teams will play in what, instead of the conference championship, will be either the Stanley Cup semifinals.
Right.
So, or once again, it will be reseeded by highest seed to lowest. So on one side, it could be one versus four, or two versus four, and three versus three, or however the teams are ranked by the end of this.
I'm just curious to see what they put them in. If it's going to be the East with the Central or the East with the North, I think it'll be good come playoff time.
Yeah, it's going to be a cluster when we get to that point.
Because the way the things are going, it's going to be all the teams from the East, basically, for the Canadian side anyways, the way it's going.
I mean, we'll find out come May 10th because that's when the playoffs are expected to start. And then before that, the big show, I think everyone we're excited for is going to be on April 12th with the trade deadline.
Oh, let's go. That's going to be an interesting day.
I don't think there's going to be a ton of trades because everybody's so strapped for cash. And also, I think my other interesting take is this league is simping so hard for money right now that we're going to have like the Liberty Mutual Stanley Cup finalist A and like the Rocket Mortgage Stanley Cup finalist B trophy. And that's going to be how like they do like the Clarence S. Campbell Bull and Prince of Wales trophies this year.
Oh my gosh.
The sad thing is, I have to agree with Dougie. Like, that's probably what it's going to end up being this year.
Yeah.
Dude, we're gonna end up being like the KHL, and there's just gonna be sponsors all over the jerseys here in about 2 years.
They're gonna have sponsors on the visor tint. It's gonna be like
the sponsors on the visor.
If we turn into the KHL, it's gonna be bad.
That's gonna be funny though.
They may score some more goals.
True.
Damn.
Who knows?
I think that's a way to end it though, right there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good show, guys. Thank you for joining me. And as always, make sure to keep up with us on CUTV and CUTV Sports 1 for more forechecking. Make sure to watch that hockey. The season just got started. There's a lot in store in a shortened season. So keep up with it. You never know who's going to make the playoffs and who will win this year's Stanley Cup. We're just getting started. So stay with us. We'll be back with another show here very soon. For now, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on CUTV Sports 1.